Hello and welcome back to Truth is Freedom. I'm Pastor Dennis Cummins, pastor of Experience Church, and this is part 2 of our interview with Pastor Steve Smothermon. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and make this a part of your wisdom and growth. Now let's talk about some of the practical things that happen off the court too to prepare us. I was with a soccer player. She was a walk-on for University of Washington for soccer. You just walked on, boom, and she's like second in the nation in hurdles. Wow! In college. I mean, and so I'm like, okay, I got to ask you some questions, and I'm like, I want to talk about nutrition. I want to talk about what'd you eat before you go on the field. You know, are you carb loading? Are you, I want to know all the little things that nobody wants to talk about or nobody thinks is really important, but yet they're everything for our performance. And so let's talk about nutrition. Let's talk about sleep, which all affects our state of mind.
Yeah.
How important do you see that when you're working with top level athletes?
Yeah. So I use EMMS, eat, movement, mindset, and sleep. I think for elite performers, that's the top 4 things. And I don't know all the science behind all of it, but I know enough, right? Yeah. As I said, we can find out anything. And so I found that the ones that are fueling their body, the way we like to say it is fuel your body like a Ferrari, not a Pinto. You're going to put different gas, different fuel into that. The guys and ladies that are eating, being what they call mindful eating, thinking about what they're putting in their body, the golfers that have the right snack halfway through the round, because you don't realize all the mental fatigue that happens as you've walked 10, 11 holes and now the pressure's on, plus you're fatigued. You make bad decisions when you're tired. That's what all of us do. That's why what we put in our body needs to fuel us to give our brains activation ability versus getting tired.
We deal with that on Sundays when we're preaching multiple services, 3 services, and having to manage our energy levels and our intake to make sure that we don't get those dips.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. Moms need to deal with it too, right? And so many times moms and dads aren't handling the activity, the movement. They're not handling the sleep, and they're not handling the what they're eating. And then they wonder why they have no energy, why they can't engage, why they don't have the capacity to engage in conversations with their spouse, with their children. And then they just throw their hands up and they just want to go back to bed, or they want to crawl into a bottle, or they want to crawl into a bottle of pills. Yeah. And yet God has given us the recipe to be able to handle these things if we deal with our temple correctly, right? And
then let's talk about the circadian rhythm and sleep cycles and making sure you get sleep. Most people want to relax by binge watching something. And I get that, because I like to watch shows and stuff as well. But what that does is doesn't actually relax us. Right. It's the same as almost going to the bottle, all that. It's numbing us. It's not relaxing us, because if I'm watching a show, you know what it does? It spikes my emotions. True relaxing is letting everything calm down. Yeah. And so like I personally, over the last 6-7 months, have gotten super dialed in with eating better for myself. I've lost 30 pounds, and I'm on a whole, because I'm working with all these elite athletes, and I was like, man, I kind of don't look like them. And I'm never going to look like them because I'm 5'9"3/4, and I'm not, but I can, live this out. I was doing great with mental game and everywhere else, but that area. And so I've just made a commitment to not do certain things. I tell people a 99% commitment to anything is a pain, 100% is a breeze. Yep. Right? It's like, if I'm 99% committed to never eating fast food again. Well, every time I drive by a fast food restaurant, we have to decide, is this the 1% time I'm going to cheat? Yeah. What happens is you cheat. Every time. I tell people, go tell your spouse, I'm going to be 99% committed to you, okay? Yep. 1% of the time, maybe not. That's not going to go over well. So I tell people, just make a commitment. Whatever that commitment is, be 100%. Be all in on that commitment, because then the decisions are made for you. Yep. And so eating absolutely matters. And it gets hard because you get busy, and it's like, I need something quick, right? Because we've taught ourselves to always be stressed. Yep. We put our kids in every sport. We're always running and gunning. We think that's it. Yep. Here's the reality of sports too. Most of these kids are maybe a decent high school athlete. Hello. And that's it. Yeah. I'm working with collegiate and professional athletes. You know what I found about 99.9% of them? They had something and a gift that others didn't. And then they obviously honed their gift. Yeah. But not everyone's going to be born 6'8", 240 pounds.
Nope.
It's just not, it's like.
Parents need to dial it back a little bit. Right?
I think absolutely so, because what we're also teaching them is that that's God. So what happens when your kid plays high school sports and then that's it? Mm-hmm. Now they're 50 and all they talk about is how cool they used to be?
Totally.
Like the worst you're ever going to see me, Pastor Dennis, is today, because I'm going to commit to getting better every single day. Yeah. Those weren't my glory days in high school. Yesterday wasn't my glory day. Had a blast with your team and your staff and your leaders yesterday. That's not my glory day. You know what is my glory day? Today. Yep. Why? Because it's the one I'm living in
today.
And so eating, movement, getting up and doing something. A lot of people don't do anything. It's, I'm just lazy. I'm like, thank God you're lazy. Because if that's the only problem you have, we can fix that.
You're not quadriplegic, right? You're just lazy. We can fix that.
My motivation, I don't have motivation. Well, motivation follows movement. You're never going to feel it. Just get up and start doing it, and then you start to feel it. I made a commitment to start getting in the gym. Now I hate when I miss. Even yesterday, I Ubered from the hotel. You're like, what are you doing? I was like, I was going to take a nap, and then I was like, I got to get after it. So I Ubered over to a gym and went and got a workout in, a little cryotherapy session, because I was like, I need it, because it's become my routine, and I feel better when I do it. I feel better when I'm eating cleaner. I feel better when I'm moving. I feel better when I'm working on my mind. And then I feel better when I'm committed to getting enough sleep.
That's right.
Right? So many people, they struggle with sleep, and it's simply because they haven't taught themselves how to wind down and relax to sleep. We think, oh, let's binge watch TV, especially the boomer generation, because that's what all of them, I mean, that's what we all grew up doing, is we watch TV and fall asleep to that. That's actually not scientifically good for our brains.
We grew up with to be continued, and we'd have to wait a week, right? And now that's gone, and it's like, oh, yeah.
Instant gratification, instant. I mean, I personally hate watching shows now that I have to wait a week.
Right.
It's like, what? That's annoying. And I remember that's all we could do. And I remember even we could only record it on the VCR with the tape, and it was the weirdest way to record. And it's like, if you missed it, there was no way to go back and watch it.
That's right.
And so that happens. And so I tell people, hey, it's okay if you want to watch a show, just schedule that. Say, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 hours to watch a couple episodes, but then be disciplined enough to say, okay, at the end of those 2 hours, here's what's next on my schedule. A lot of it's because we don't schedule anything. We don't want to live by a schedule, because that's discipline, and discipline's not fun while it's happening, but it's profitable.
Because I want to live by my feelings
versus my principles.
Yep. Let's wrap up with this thought we touched on a little bit about being realistic concerning children's potential, concerning sports. And we talked earlier, you brought up the Stockdale paradox. And I think more parents need to be realistic with their kids. I don't like this statement when parents, this is the statement I can't stand. It's, you can be whatever you want to be. No, you can't.
Yeah.
If physiology said you can't, you can't. There's some people that will never dunk a ball. There's some people that will never be president. Why? They weren't born in the country. They immigrated here. There are just some things that are not, that's not true, because it's such a strong absolute. So I think as Christians, we need to say, you can be whatever God has called you to be.
Yeah.
And then if God has called you to be this athlete and to grow, and because we need Christian influencers in those arenas, we need it. But the reality is, some people aren't practical with their own kids. Yeah. They think their kid's going to be the next star. And then they put all this pressure on them, and they spend all this money on them, and they're living their dreams through their kids. And that kid don't have a hope. And like you said, after sports is done, they're done with God. They're done with church, because they were never raised up in it. The sport became their God. So what do you say to somebody like that?
I say, that one's fun, because I have some intense thoughts on that a lot of times, especially because I'm in that world. Yeah. And I never, first of all, if your kid doesn't want it more than you want it, it's not going to happen. And then I think you gotta ask yourself, why do I want that so bad for my kid? Well, I want him to have a great life. Well, they can have a great life without being a professional athlete. Yeah. They can have a phenomenal life without being a superstar. Because at the end of the day, God never created any of us to be famous. That's why people don't handle fame well, because we weren't actually created to become famous. Yeah. Now, it might happen, because when you're using a gifting, people acknowledge that and whatever, and so that happens. But I think there's something sometimes broken in people that they're like, well, I need to see my kids do this. And it's like, okay. So like what I do with my kids, right or wrong, is I try to find what they're interested in. And the Bible says, train up a child in the way they should go, they'll never depart from the truth. Part of that in the context actually means help them develop and find their gifting and grow them up in that gifting and teach them to honor God with whatever that gifting is. Mm-hmm. So some kids, like you said, if you're born with my athletic ability, you're not playing a professional sport. Now, you can get really good at something, and maybe if you work hard at it, and, like if I would have really worked on my golf game, which I thought was boring and I never wanted to do it, and now I'm like, why didn't I care more about this back then? You can develop skills, absolutely. But what also I'm seeing is when they're putting them in all these sports, they're not getting skill development. They're just playing a bunch of games. Mm-hmm. Like I think the whole AAU culture, the whole select baseball culture, it's not developing kids' skills. It's just keeping them busy. And then what we're teaching these kids is almost creating little narcissists. Yeah. Because everything's about them. And then I got to please mommy and daddy. And now
they got a $300 bat, but they can't even get on base.
Yeah. And then it creates this world that everything revolves around you. And it's like, no, we need to teach people that that's not how the world works.
Oh, no.
That's not how it works. It does not revolve around us in any capacity. Mm-hmm. It revolves around God, first and foremost, and should in our lives. And what's interesting, when I was in school, my dad actually, because we had Wednesday night church and I played on the high school basketball team. We won 3 state championships in a row at that. It was a great basketball team in New Mexico. But Wednesday nights, we only had one gym, so the girls would practice from 3:30 to 5:30, and then the boys from 5:30 to 7:30, and then every other week we'd swap. Well, church started at 6:30. So on the nights that my practice was the 5:30, I had to leave at 6 and go to church. And he would tell coach, hey, he's not going to stay the whole practice. Never did. Mm-hmm. Like, well, at the time I'm like, but I'm gonna get penalized. He said, doesn't care. I don't care. Church matters more than that. Yep. Church. So I learned that lesson as a kid. We never missed church for a sporting event ever. Mm-hmm. My dad was like, we're not going to do it. I know you're good. I know you're on the team. And my senior year, you're starting, you're doing all this, but you're going to miss practice when it's church night. And I remember even as a teenager being mad about like, what? I got to be here. I want to be at practice. But now I'm so thankful for that lesson because it's like, wait a minute, God matters more. Because then what happens is I'm too busy. Mm-hmm. I'm too busy to go to church. I'm too busy to do the things that God needs me to do. Why are we so busy? That's all life is teaching us now. That's a terrible mental game. Yep. We're busy. And then people,
victim talk.
It is. And I'm busy. You're creating your own busyness. Yep. Why are you doing that? Like your kid, you could literally just get YouTube videos and go and be a parent in your backyard and work on their baseball swing. Yeah. They don't need to play on a selective. Well, they're not going to get noticed. Listen, the guys who are talented, the ladies who are talented, they get noticed at the time they need to get noticed. Yeah. They pop. The Mike Trouts of the world, who's one of the greatest baseball players of all time now, he was obviously different. Yep. Right? He was different. Shohei Ohtani with the Angels now, different. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have something that someone else doesn't. You can see the gifting.
And they're looking for that talent. The scouts are looking for something that's unique, not just somebody that's on the field playing. And you don't have to, I just think, man, we're doing our kids and a whole generation a disservice with anything because it's not even just sports. We keep them busy with all sorts of stuff. And then we wonder why we're always so stressed out. Well, we'll just take a break. We don't have enough time with our kids. Well, then stop putting them in so many things. Because I've had people that's like, well, we can't do this. We can't do this church thing because we're too busy with all of this. And then we're not getting time with our kids. I'm like, so then stop the sport thing and sit at home and spend time with your kids. Yeah. Because even while you're at the sport thing, you're cheering them on, but they're on the field with those coaches and those teammates. They're not with you. And so I do think there's definitely a balance that especially Christian parents and people that want to raise their kids around the things of God. And then I think, okay, if you are playing select baseball, be intentional with your time out there. Totally. You're not just there to be a parent and watch and quit pushing your kids so stinking hard on some things. Let them find their passion, right? Most all of us, when we found out what we wanted to do in life, like me doing sports psychology, was because I was trying things, trying different things. And it was like, oh, this works. Yep. Oh man, God put me in the right place at the right time because I was trying something outside of my norm. I started refereeing basketball. That's how I fell into sports psychology because I was like on the basketball court. Nobody likes an official. Yeah. And it's emotion. I was an emotional wreck, right? Internally, I couldn't show it to anybody because I got to be cool, calm, and collected. But it's like, I know I missed that call and you're screaming at me that I missed that call. And now I feel like I'm the worst official in the world because I know I done messed up. And then I can't go to the other end and do a makeup call because that's not a thing. Yeah. Right? I know some guys probably do, some ladies
might do makeup calls. I didn't do makeup calls. It's like, I'm not fixing. I missed that already. It's gone. had to learn to let it go. Yep. But it was just trying things. And so I think helping your kids develop their skills, but also being there to help them. And I tell parents this, you're either the best or the worst mental coach for your kids. Why? Because they get in the car with you afterwards.
Yep.
And if a parent, all they're doing is, I can't believe you struck out. I can't believe you did this. I'm spending all this money on you and you're not even getting the results. You know what you are? You're the worst mental performance coach in the world.
Yep.
Oh, I just hurt your feelings though, didn't I? Well, I'm an expert at this and you're not.
Yeah.
You're terrible for your kid.
Yep.
You shouldn't be asking, well, what was the results? You should be saying, hey, how'd you prepare today? How you feeling? You okay? Okay, good. Assess it that way. I talk about do well, better, how. So if you are a parent that's doing all that, start changing the conversation. Quit focusing on, oh, you struck out. Well, can I tell you something about baseball specifically? Hall of Famers strike out or don't get on base 70% of the time. They fail all the time. Hall of Fame hitters get on base 30% of the time.
Yep.
They get a hit 30% of the time. If you hit 300, oh my gosh, you're one of the greatest hitters of all time. So there's failure. So, but too often that's what with the pressure we're putting on young people and each other. It's like,
and you know what? There's life after sports. Look at Randy Johnson, great historic pitcher, Mariners, right? He's a photographer.
Yeah.
Sports photographer. He's doing what he loves.
Yep.
And so I think that's the thing too. We got to realize that there's life after sports, and what is that?
And you're going to be a person longer than you're going to be an athlete.
That's right.
But in athletics, they do a great job of making you think that's all you are. You're only a football player. You're only this. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
That's a gift and a skill you have, but you're whoever you are.
The sporting industry is turning into what the record industry is today.
Yeah.
The record industry just chews people up and spits them out because it's a money machine. And that's what the sporting industry is turning into.
Yeah.
Everybody's a label. What label's going to eat you and own you and then kick you to the side when they're done. So you gotta look out for yourself. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you got to know who you are.
Yep.
Because you're more than just a football player. You're more than just a basketball player. You're so much more than that. And that's what I try to help guys with that I get to work with. It's like, I'm going to try to help you be just a better person for life.
Yep.
Because it's great that you play sports now. It's cool. I get to work with you. It's awesome. But like, I want you to be someone that we can hang out after sport. And like, you're a good guy. You're a good lady. You're helping people. You're doing what really God created us all to do, which is serve others.
Awesome. Hey, how do they get a hold of you?
I have a few ways. They can follow me on social media, on Instagram specifically at Steve_BTJ. It stands for Bring the Juice. My business is Bring the Juice Performance. They can also go to my website, btjperformance.com. And there's ways to contact me on there. So those are the two best ways, at Steve_BTJ and btjperformance.com.
Right on. Well, Pastor Steve, thank you for being on.
Thank you, Pastor Dennis. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, that's Truth is Freedom. I trust that you have enjoyed and learned and gleaned from this. Please reach out to Pastor Steve on his Instagram as well as Spotify. Bring the juice. All right. So that's Truth is Freedom. Thank you so much. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. God bless.